are sports cards that you do take trade and everything. Is there anything else that you take on trade? Sports-wise, card-related-wise, anything like that?
There is a fine line between a collectible store and a pawn shop. So we do have to be very careful that we don't buy anything that can be classified as potentially stolen, products like that. So we do have to be very, very careful that we don't fall into that pawn shop classification. But we do buy all sports cards, all sports memorabilia, anything trading card game-wise. So Magic, Yu-Gi-Oh, Pokemon, to name a few of the more prominent ones. But basically anything that falls under the gaming or sports classification is something that we can buy and do buy.
When it comes to sports cards, do you get a lot of people coming in asking if they can help you out and explain how much this card's worth, that card's worth? Do you educate them on something that could be worth a couple grand?
A good chunk of my day is the education process. It is the ability to kind of help people know, both what they have, what it's really worth on the open market, and then as well, what we can give them for it to still allow me to make a profit and also cut them out of not having to do any of the work. So a lot of times what we do when we're reselling and buying stuff that people already have, and everybody has the internet at this point, they could easily put it on eBay themselves, or they could easily do whatever. But what we say is, you're going to lose 20% of fees. You're going to lose the expenses of the shipping, the postage, the envelope, and time and time and time. And so basically what we say is if we can make 20% and do all the work for you, that's something that's fair for us. If not, and you would prefer to do it yourself, of course, we'll even show you how to do it, and so we do spend a lot of time of kind of letting people know, the best resource I have, again, is the internet. We can get on there, look at completed auctions, anything that's, sold gives us a basic average and what they would expect for it to sell. So it's actually, again, a tool for us. We're able to show you exactly what it is in black and white on the screen, and there's no argument disagreeing, so it makes it much easier for us to negotiate an end price when we know exactly what the market's bearing in that day or week.
With hundreds and thousands of Magic the Gathering and Yu-Gi-Oh cards out, say if I'm looking for a certain card or a list of cards, is that something you can tell me if you have in the store, or is it something that you could get for me in a possible way?
I probably get several lists or text messages like that on a daily basis where so-and-so is building a deck and they will text me a list of what they need and how many of them it is, and then I'll give me a chance to both pull them out before they get here, so it makes their, they may only have an hour to come hang out at the shop on a particular day. Well, they don't want to spend 30 minutes of it waiting for me to dig it out. So we do have a complete service where you can text or call with your list ahead of time. I'll go ahead and have it out and ready, and once you come in, you can just pick it up, so that way you can use that full hour to play instead of just having to dig and find what you're looking for.
How do you keep track of inventory? Is it something that you struggle with?
It is the number one biggest problem that I have. There's just so much, and it grows every day, So the best you can do is keep it sorted as best as humanly possible so it makes logical sense of where to find it, but then you still have that organized chaos where if anyone else walked in, they would have no idea, but I kind of know exactly where it is to grab it for you. But we do have a different system that we've kind of implemented over the past, I guess, give or take month, and that's been extremely time consuming for me, but it also saves me infinite time down the road. So it's one of those time investments that was well worth it in the end.
Currently, is there anything else that you would like to change about your store? Say if you had an unlimited amount of cash that you could use to change anything.
I would love to have new carpet. I know that sounds silly. I never would have thought it would have worn out as fast as it did. The other thing I really am, I'm looking for a larger space. Our next step in kind of growing is true growth. So, our inventory's gotten better. Our player base is infinitely larger than it was, and we're growing out of just complete table and floor space. So our next chore once we get into the spring months is to find a new location that'll allow us for more space for the players to play, and quite honestly, more space for me to have a different batch of inventory, new products, and a little easier to find organizational system for everybody to get what they need.
As you gain more repetition within the city, what are some of your plans to grow with your business besides moving to a different location?
I think it's just continuing down the same path. I think every day we have somebody new come in, or every week you'll have several new different people from either sports cards or the gaming aspect. And I think it's important that the most important thing for me to remember is 9 months ago we weren't far from the noose tightening to being a more prominent, successful business already in Louisville. So, I owe that to the players and I owe that to the community, and that's something that I don't want to forget. I want to make sure that I treat everybody the way I did the first day when I was desperate for any dollar that was spent to when we're a little more settled in and established. But I think, again, the most important is just providing the space and service that we would like to, and continue down the path of finding a larger space.
Do you ever see yourself having 2 stores in the future in the same city or different cities?
I definitely see myself with multiple stores, thus the name that we talked about earlier, is to allow us for the growth of having a whatever, through the decades, anything that would fall into that classification. The downfall to a multiple stores, I can only be at one place at one time, and I am very hands-on, and I am, actually you can probably just say controlling, to be quite honest with you, that it kind of has to be my way, and I want to make sure that I'm overseeing everything. So I think we're definitely at least a year or two away from this place being self-sufficient enough that I could have somebody else in the position to kind of run the store for me, which would allow me to open another location, but I would definitely love to.
Do you ever see your store atop any of the national leading tournament stores for Magic?
I definitely see that in the future. That does come into the place of come into play with the space. In order for us to have some of the larger pt2s and Grand Prix and those types of things, we would just need more seating. So, luckily we have a lot of people that would love for us to be able to host them, so that's a good sign that they'll be here to come. But again, more importantly, we just need the space to support it. But that is definitely something in the future that we're looking to do.
For your final question, if you could go back to when you first started your business and you knew everything that you do now, would you change anything about it?
Honestly, I'd probably change everything. Don't get me wrong, I don't have any complaints, but in that same breath, everything you do is a 3 or 4 step process when it could have easily been a 1-step process. So I think if anything, I would just streamline differently. I would have started the organization process right at the start instead of when it got overbearing and there was too much to go back and do. But other than that, I feel like I did pretty decent at the start. I don't think we got this successful and with this much growth with doing something incorrectly. But again, if I could have gone back, I definitely would have started my organization on day 1 instead of 4 months into it.